In an elementary school somewhere, a teacher starts her lesson by reminding her pupils about a saying she used in her previous classes. "You can't make everyone happy if you expect too much," was the saying, and then she went on to instruct them to remember that when they are having their meals. She also admonishes the children to be less greedy so that it will be easy for her to make them happy. The children, while sounding very innocent, echo out their wish to follow the instructions of the teacher. They make it look like they understand their teacher's instructions, but not too long after they go against what they said they'd do. Some of the children get greedy, struggling with each other, the toys that have just been brought in. Due to the greed of some of these kids, fights ensue, and some kids run to the teacher to complain. It's sad that one woman is supposed to handle such big a mess, and all her efforts to try and get the kids to calm down fall on deaf ears. The teacher begins to contemplate on what to do about situations like this. From the way she sounds, she has faced this time and time again. She complains that the reason for the conflict is that there are a lot of kids and a limit to the donations that are coming in. While all this is going on, one little girl stays separated from all the fighting. Her mind is on a book she took from the pile of donations, and she wonders why no one wants the book. It is a book about Greek and Roman mythology, depicted in pictures. No wonder the other kids don't want it. To think a girl this young is interested in such a complex thing is actually shocking. Out of further curiosity, the little girl flips open the pages of the book. Upon opening the book, a topic of the god of desire, pleasure, ecstasy, and wine catches her attention. Those are all big words for a mind so little. Nevertheless, when she observes the pictures further, she is able to understand this god a little more. Her little mind views the god as a god of grape juice and joy, a being that she considers to be cool because of this. While observing further, she notices that the god is having fun with his friends, and from the food and flowers in the picture, she concludes that the god is having fun. The little girl believes that meeting this god would turn her life around, allowing her to eat grapes all the time and have all her desires. Suddenly, her attention shifts from the book, and she now wants a toy like the other kids. As she observes them, she recalls the teacher's words about them and how their reduced greed would make things easier. Because of those words, she smiles running around as she states that the book is hers. She addresses herself as Hye-sal. Cute name, right? Years go by, and our little Hye-sal is now in her teens. She is even discussing with a certain someone her intention to get her graduate degree. The topic Hye-sal has brought up is making the man feel uncomfortable, and he wants to know why she is requesting for the degree. The man, who is very flustered, tells Hye-sal that her grades are too precious to waste. Out of concern, he adds that if the situation at the orphanage Hye-sal is from is difficult, she can apply for a scholarship. With a smile on her face, Hye-sal assures the man that her decision is not fully because of the financial situation of the pharmacy. Shockingly, she confesses that the reason for her decision is that she does not want to be anxious. She also claims she does not want to be greedy for a good university. Hye-sal adds that if she goes to a higher school, things might get uncomfortable for her. Finally, Hye-sal's thoughts reveal the last reason why she is making this decision. Although she does not say it out, she knows that she will come of age soon and move out of the orphanage. When this happens, Hye-sal is certain that accommodation will be a problem for her. The smile on Hye-sal's face and her making mention of not wanting to be greedy just sounds like her excuse for not going for the better things in life. I wonder how long she is going to keep telling herself not to be greedy, because it looks like she is about to snap. Later that day, still at school, a male approaches Hye-sal. The student introduces himself as Hyun-soo Lee and confesses his feelings for Hye-sal. After confessing how feelings, he asks her out. Hye-sal is shocked at first. This is the first time someone is confessing his feelings to her, which is what makes it such a big deal. Although Hye-sal might not be one of the hottest girls in her class, this guy looks like a nerd and a bundle of trouble. Even though he looks like he is head over heels in love with our girl, something about his smile is a bit off. Surprisingly, Hye-sal, instead of doing the normal girl thing and requesting for some time to think about his offer, thinks about it on the spot. For a few minutes, she racks her brain, thinking hard as she grades the kid. During the evaluation, Hye-sal can see that Hyun-soo is not all that. She knows that he is a 5/10 at best, but goes on to accept to date him anyway. Hye-sal tells herself that she did not have a reason to reject Hyun-soo's offer, and she has always wanted to be in a relationship. To her, this is a win-win situation. Giving it some more thought, Hye-sal tells herself that if she gets to know Hyun-soo, it'll get better. She then asks herself if it is good to live a normal life without greed. At this point, we'd expect Hye-sal to snap out of this thought she lives by, but she does not. According to Hye-sal, her goal is to live an average life. Sad, right? It fast-forwards to 7 years later. Now Hye-sal is all grown up. Surely the real world should have helped her out of that mindset she carries. At the moment, she is on a call with someone who seems to care about her. The caller admits to never having seen Hye-sal invest so much in wine before. The caller, now curious, asks Hye-sal if she is finally treating herself right. Looks like the caller is also against the average life Hye-sal swore to live. To everyone's surprise, the wine is not because Hye-sal is celebrating something or just wants to spoil herself, but because of Hyun-soo. She explains to the caller that Hyun-soo had been wanting to drink the wine for a while. Luckily for her, she stumbled upon it and thought it would be nice to get it for him. It's surprising that Hye-sal has been with that guy for 7 years. But what's even more surprising is that the caller feels the same way we feel about him. The caller does not hold back and tells Hye-sal that upon observation, Hyun-soo does nothing special for her. The caller also advises Hye-sal to stop spending money on others and take care of herself too, a piece of advice that some of us need. At the end of the speech, the caller gleefully congratulates Hye-sal for getting a YouTube silver button. Hye-sal, on the other hand, looking very tired and stressed, weakly thanks the caller for the congratulatory message. The caller can tell from Hye-sal's response that Hye-sal is not happy and questions her, seeking to know why she does not sound excited. Hye-sal explains to the caller that her mood is not as a result of her not being excited, but because of the thought of the pressure that comes with the achievement she has just bagged. This statement annoys the caller. According to the caller, Hye-sal is bringing up her "I'm not greedy" disease. Confused by this statement, Hye-sal seeks clarification, which the caller goes on to give her. The caller, who is finally revealed as a blue-haired lady, reminds Hye-sal of the time she demanded for a lower grade in her college entrance examination, even when she performed well. The caller then reminded Hye-sal that her headmaster from her high school had to step on because of the request she made, and remind her of her dream to go to college. The caller believes that the entrance examination fiasco and Hye-sal's current YouTube-based complaints have similarities. She is pissed at the fact that Hye-sal thinks this opportunity is a burden and gives her the green light to back out of. She feels it's a burden. The caller ends her pep talk by stating that she is capable, just like Hye-sal, but that doesn't make her greedy. Today's fact-filled pep talk ends up hurting Hye-sal a little, unlike other days. Even so, she laughs about it right before she gets distracted by a couple. Well, it's not exactly the two of them that are the cause of Hye-sal losing focus. Whatever the girl is going on about does not matter to Hye-sal. She's just focused on the man by her side who she finds attractive. Hye-sal is taken aback by the man's good looks, up to the point that she doesn't even notice that he has caught her staring. Hye-sal stares until the guy gets very close to her before remembering to look away. Nonetheless, she manages to keep her cool until she is meters away from the man, before she starts to blush out of embarrassment. Because of the guy's good looks, Hye-sal gets scared, wondering why such a good-looking person exists. She sees the stranger as the most handsome guy she has seen in her life, certain that this is the first time she has seen him since she moved in next door. Hye-sal just can't believe her eyes, and it looks like her whole stay average curse has been broken. Sadly, we expected too much from Hye-sal, as she remembers she has a boyfriend and tells herself that he is the best. She starts feeling uncomfortable and tells herself that what she is doing is just like looking at pretty flowers on the street. With that in mind, she wills herself to stop looking and mind her own business. Unfortunately for Hye-sal, she and the couple end up waiting to get on the elevator at the same time. While waiting, she remembers she is on a call and asks the caller to talk to her. The caller's name is So-yeon, and Hye-sal tells her that she had spaced out. Her statement catches the handsome stranger's attention and prompts him to observe Hye-sal for a bit. While silently staring at Hye-sal, the handsome stranger grins, and it's almost as if he is cooking up some shady plan. Hye-sal, unaware that she has been noticed by the stranger, continues with her conversation with her friend So-yeon. The discussion shifts to Hyun-soo Lee, Hye-sal's boyfriend, as So-yeon decides to ask her how his job preparation is going. Hye-sal doesn't understand the question at first, so So-yeon explains that she is asking if Hye-sal is letting Hyun-soo ride on her channel's success. She also wants to know if Hye-sal is letting Hyun-soo get paid for leeching off her channel. As expected, Hye-sal tells So-yeon that all that does not matter, adding that this is so because she'll be getting married to Hyun-soo soon. The handsome stranger's partner gets jealous on hearing this, and we can tell she is about to throw a tantrum. He notices her change of mood nonetheless, but acts like he hasn't noticed it. Hye-sal, on the other hand, is unaware of all this and tells Hyun-soo that getting a job is hard for everyone, which is why she is letting him eat off her success. Hye-sal tells So-yeon that she is sure Hyun-soo will do well with his job preparation, and she is just cheering him on. This is the last straw for Hye-sal, and the jealous blonde springs into action. She immediately asks the handsome stranger when they are getting married. This catches the handsome stranger off guard, but that doesn't stop his blonde lover from airing out her views. According to her, the handsome stranger has a lot of money, but lives in the cramped-up apartment complex, and wants to know how long he plans on them living like that. The handsome stranger, in a bid to silence his blonde lover, asks her how long they've been together for them to be discussing marriage. The blonde woman, refusing to keep quiet, keeps going, arguing that she has seen couples get married after 3 dates. After stating this point, she urges the handsome man to go with her to see her parents. All this is happening in Hye-sal's presence, like she isn't even there, definitely making her feel uncomfortable. In the end, the handsome stranger gets fed up with his lover's excessive talking and silences her with a kiss. This makes Hye-sal feel very uncomfortable. The sight hits her to the point that she drops her phone without noticing. Now Hye-sal sees the handsome stranger as a man who has some screws loose, since he has the boldness to act this way in public. Because of the position she is in now, Hye-sal recalls some of the man's other attitudes, like bringing girls over as he likes. To her, the guy is not genuine. Meanwhile, the blonde girl all of a sudden does not want to talk about marriage again. I'm starting to think the lip contact was no ordinary one, since the blonde woman now looks hypnotized. Even the way she quickly obeys the handsome stranger the moment he tells her to get up so they leave is fishy. When they finally exit the elevator, it's just Hye-sal and her thoughts that remain. Although it's not her business, Hye-sal starts to wonder why the handsome stranger treated the blonde-haired woman that way. To her, the two are in a relationship, and him threatening his girlfriend in that manner is rude and selfish. She now feels irritated when she thinks about how men like the handsome stranger exist in the world. Hye-sal now feels like she misjudged the man and he is not the nice guy she saw him as. She goes on to scold herself because she thought about the handsome stranger. Hye-sal tells herself that Hyun-soo would be annoyed at her if he found out she was thinking about someone else. It's cute that she is worried about the guy's feelings, but I doubt her boyfriend Hyun-soo would know if she doesn't go crazy and tell him. Finally, after such a strange day, Hye-sal arrives at her apartment complex. Joyfully, she announces her arrival to Hyun-soo, but the moment she pushes the door open, it's obvious that something isn't right. Nonetheless, Hye-sal doesn't notice this detail. She is blinded by her joy and asks if the silver button has arrived. She clearly looks forward to unwrapping it with Hyun-soo and announces her intention for them to party together afterwards. It is after Hye-sal is done stating her intentions that she notices that Hyun-soo has unwrapped the silver button without her. Surprised, tells him that they were supposed to do the unwrapping together. Hyun-soo says nothing to Hye-sal, and when she walks in, she tries to understand what is happening. With the way Hyun-soo is sitting on the couch, he looks like he is in a bad mood. But Hye-sal ignores that for now and asks him why he did not turn on the lights. She then asks him what he is doing, as she notices that he is sitting by the YouTube silver button she earned. Since Hyun-soo remains silent, refusing to say anything to Hye-sal, she acts like all is good. While keeping her cool, Hye-sal pulls out Hyun-soo's dream wine and tells him that they were supposed to do the silver button unwrapping together. Since he went on to open it without her, she lightly scolds him for doing so, pointing out that he shouldn't have just opened it without her. Hye-sal, believing that Hyun-soo did the unwrapping without her because he couldn't hold back his excitement, shares with him her hope that he filmed the unwrapping. Hye-sal, instead of reading the room, keeps acting positive. She tells Hyun-soo that it must have been hard for him to film the unwrapping on his own when he decides to speak up. The second Hye-sal addresses Hye-sal by her full name is all the proof we need to know that something is really wrong. Finally, Hyun-soo decides to share with Hye-sal the reason why he is acting all Batman-like. His reason is that he wants to break up with her. Not the way any of us would have expected things to go, but Hye-sal had to reap from her poor choices eventually. As expected, the breakup hit Hye-sal hard, so hard that she ends up at a bar in an attempt to drink away her problems. She's at the bar when some loud lady rushes in, yelling out her name. Hye-sal, even though her eyes have swollen up due to crying a lot and she is wasted because of the drinks, identifies the loud lady. Yuju is the loud lady's name, and when she spots Hye-sal in the condition she is in, she demands to know who put her in that state. The question only reminds Hye-sal of Hyun-soo, the reason why she is here in the first place, and she gets back to crying. Yuju, not sounding surprised, says that she expected Hye-sal to be in this state. Her friend from earlier, on the other hand, tries to get her to stop crying again. She believes that Hyun-soo is not worth her crying about, but that doesn't stop Hye-sal from shedding more tears. The short-haired friend is none other than So-yeon, the friend that called her to check on her earlier on, and her and Yuju wrap Hye-sal in a warm hug. The three friends cry together because of Hye-sal. Instead of weeping in silence like everyone else, Yuju keeps talking, stating that she had observed that Hyun-soo was a jerk since back when they were in school. She had always seen the guy as ungrateful and couldn't understand what more he wanted from Hye-sal. Yuju's words end up pushing Hye-sal to spill something she had kept from her friends. Since it's a big confession, she starts by stammering, before finally letting her friends know that Hyun-soo has taken her YouTube channel. This confession silences even Yuju, who waits to hear all Hye-sal has to say. Hye-sal explains to her friends that her and Hyun-soo shared the same username and she used that name to open a YouTube account. She adds that after doing this, they did not agree on a contract because she was clouded by the belief that they were going to get married. Hye-sal is about continuing her story when she notices her friends are glaring at her like they want to devour her. Annoyed, both Yuju and So-yeon advise Hye-sal to sue Hyun-soo and take him to trial. After all, they all know the value of a YouTube account that has gained a silver button. A brilliant suggestion, if you ask me. But our ambassador for the average refuses. The idea alone causes her to break down into tears because she considered it and knows that if it does not work, she will end up wasting time and money. Hye-sal assures her friends that they do not have to worry about her, since it's her problem, and promises to handle it. This charge falls on deaf ears as Yuju rains insults on an absent Hyun-soo. So-yeon, who is more reasons, asks Hye-sal what Hyun-soo's reason for breaking up with her was. Feeling even more down, Hye-sal decides to tell her friends how the breakup happened, but promises them they'd laugh at her. Luckily for us, we get a flashback to see firsthand what Hyun-soo's reason for the breakup was. It was just some hours ago, and after Hyun-soo requested the breakup, Hye-sal tried to find out why he wanted one all of a sudden. She stated that she was faithful to him and asked him if she did anything wrong to upset him. Coldly, Hyun-soo told Hye-sal that she had not done anything to offend him, which actually annoyed him a lot. He claimed her perfection was frustrating, and it kept him from getting angry. Hyun-soo went on to explain to Hye-sal that all his time with her They had never argued. That should have been a good thing, however. The jerk saw it as Hye-sal looking down on him. We all know that was never the case, but that's how things are from Hyunsu's view. Surprisingly, Hyunsu brought up the fact that Hye-sal did not have expectations from him, so there was nothing he did for her to be disappointed about. Nevertheless, he wanted to know if not wanting anything from him made Hye-sal feel bad. Even after asking the question, Hyunsu kept talking, not allowing Hye-sal to answer his question. Hyunsu then brought up the YouTube silver button that Hye-sal had earned. He told her that if the silver button was so important to her, she should have celebrated and been angry that he opened it without her, but that was not what she did. I mean, Hye-sal was dull until she got home and acted like her achievement was Hyunsu's. She even got him wine. What Hyunsu is trying to say is that he felt their relationship was unreal, and unwrapping the silver button without Hye-sal was his final attempt to annoy her. He then asked her if his stunt annoyed her, but Hye-sal is unable to give him a response. After thinking about all Hyunsu said, Hye-sal was about to give him an answer when he stopped her from doing so. He told her that he had a crush on a new girl, and that was how Hye-sal's 7-year relationship with Hyunsu came to an end. That was what Hye-sal got from choosing to live average, and hopefully she'll learn from this mistake. No, Hye-sal still has not learned anything. Hye-sal complains that Hyunsu should have understood her since she was just being considerate. She tells herself that during her time with Hyunsu, she knew how far he could go for her without stressing himself, and did not push him to go farther than his limit. She saw wanting him to go further than his limit as greedy, and that was enough to dry the tears off her friends' faces. Yuju, out of annoyance, is about transferring the aggression she had toward Hyunsu to Hye-sal when So-yeon speaks up. From the way she sees it, Hye-sal is probably the first person to get dumped because she didn't want anything from her boyfriend. All Hyunsu wanted was to be pushed or expected from, but because of Hye-sal's stay average and not greedy rule, she didn't do that. So-yeon tells Hye-sal that she acted foolishly and Hyunsu was using her all along. She had warned Hye-sal, but Hye-sal refused to listen. To So-yeon, the reason why Hyunsu didn't get a job was because all that time he was leeching off her YouTube account. Yuju, who is no longer interested in discussing Hyunsu, asks So-yeon if she has a guy to introduce Hye-sal to. She specifically wants a man who can treat Hye-sal like a queen and make her feel pretty. So-yeon, on hearing this, springs into action immediately. She picks up her phone and scrolls through it while letting Yuju know that she has 5 candidates for a 27-year-old Hye-sal. Yuju likes what she hears, adding that the person they are going with must be tall and have a sincere personality. She also wants the guy to have broad shoulders and a good sense of dressing. Even after stating all this, Yuju is not holding back with her requests. She adds that the person So-yeon chooses must be a government or company employee with regular hours. To her, this will be a better match for Hye-sal than a freelancer. Yuju is about discussing the guy's salary when Hye-sal speaks up. Not feeling the idea since she believes that someone who just broke up today should not be on a blind date. I may not be a fan of Hye-sal's principles, but to an extent I admire the way she stands firm in it, not minding what people say to her. Like, how can she still believe that it's greedy to want a man with all those qualities Yuju claims must be in Hye-sal's new man? Her claim that it is greedy shocks both So-yeon and Yuju, who are just trying to look out for her, and pushes Yuju to air out her mind. Yuju almost loses it when she demands to know how far Hye-sal's standards will go. She explains to Hye-sal that all she had mentioned are just basic qualities that come up when a woman goes on a blind date. This is news to Hye-sal, who did not know what blind dates are all about. Truly concerned, So-yeon puts her phone down and tries to talk to Hye-sal. Instead of following the path Yuju is following and scolding Hye-sal, So-yeon talks to her more calmly. With concern in her tone, So-yeon starts by asking Hye-sal how far she wishes to go on with her principles. She also wishes to know why Hye-sal is trying to lower her standards, and asks her if she knows the amount of things she has missed in her life. So-yeon, in order to explain better to Hye-sal what she has been missing, decides to list them out. Firstly, She starts by reminding Hye-sal of the time she apologized to the people who failed to pass the college exam. Then there was how whatever meal she chose on a menu was always the least on the table. She then reminds Hye-sal that back when they were in school, a lot of guys liked her, guys she rejected for Hun-soo. The truths hit Hye-sal like bullets, and when she tries to explain herself, So-yeon does not let her. Seo-yeon even states that there were a lot of guys who were angry at Hye-sal because she accepted Hyun-soo. All these facts end up calming down our hot-headed Yuju, and she asks Hye-sal why she always picks the worst of all the choices. She understands that Hye-sal has her reasons for doing what she does, but encourages her to at least stand for what she rightfully deserves. It's now starting to look like an intervention that finally gets Hye-sal thinking. She goes silent, thinking about what Hyun-soo said to her before breaking up with her. She now breaks down Hyun-soo's words, understanding that from what he said, she does not have expectations, so she would not be disappointed. Hye-sal then wonders if that really makes her feel bad, and wonders why Hyun-soo said she was looking down on him. After thinking on these things, she speaks up, announcing that, at the end of the day, her relationship ended because she is not greedy. Then, this realization unleashes floodgates of thoughts that Hye-sal pours out uncontrollably. Hye-sal tells her friends that she hates getting her hopes up only to end up getting disappointed. She also agrees with them, confessing that taking something from someone makes her feel uncomfortable. Also, Hye-sal admits that although she lost her YouTube channel, she does not feel bad. On the contrary, Hye-sal feels like she has put down a burden. During Hye-sal's confession, her mind goes back to the time when she was just a little girl with that book she found that no one wanted. She was a lonely child and knows that from back then till now, not everyone is like her. Hye-sal is fed up. It shows on her face. Even so, she tells herself that she is doomed to live like this forever. She is certain that this is who she is and how she has lived her life all along, so she can't just change her lifestyle from out of the blue. So-yeon, out of concern, asks Hye-sal why she cannot change her lifestyle now. Moved by her will to convince Hye-sal to change, So-yeon gets all up in Hye-sal's face and tells her to change her lifestyle since it's not that big a deal. To So-yeon, a little greed and desire, allowing her to do what she wants should not be a problem. She also wishes to know what Hye-sal wants to do the most at the moment, prompting Hye-sal to give it some thought. Since she is still unable to tell what she wants, So-yeon rephrases seeking to know what Hye-sal would like to do today if she was going to die tomorrow. Not too long after So-yeon's question, the scene shifts to the busy nighttime streets of South Korea. Finally, we get to see that Hye-sal's wish is to go clubbing at the Coco KO2 club, where she is at the moment, with her friends. It's obvious that Hye-sal does not feel comfortable at the club, wondering where her friends went. When she looks around and spots various couples making out, Hye-sal feels even more uncomfortable, wondering where she should put her eyes. Luckily for Hye-sal, So-yeon finds her and walks up to her. Curious, she asks Hye-sal why she is scared when it was her who brought her to the club. Hye-sal seizes this opportunity to complain that she is feeling uncomfortable with her outfit. She tries to plead with So-yeon to let her go and change her clothes, but So-yeon refuses. She tells Hye-sal that in the club what matters is not the clothes but the spirit of the people at the club. Hye-sal, while panicking, seizes So-yeon by the shirt, reminding her that they came here because So-yeon promised to help her find a boyfriend. So-yeon, still keeping her cool, tells Hye-sal that they are here specifically to get her a boyfriend. Hye-sal, clearly even more frustrated than she was before, sighs deeply. She feels like she is dressed rather shabby and complains about how she is new to this kind of thing. She knows that she should have tried seduction back in the day, but So-yeon does not let her complain. Instead, she encourages Hye-sal to get what's inside her out. She informs Hye-sal that although quiet people like her may not know what lust is, they tend to get fully engrossed in it when they get introduced to it. This statement almost gets Hye-sal laughing, up to the point that she ends up being short of words. Because Hye-sal is now short of words, So-yeon encourages her to let loose and explore her surroundings. As soon as she says this, she spots something that she feels will help Hye-sal out. What So-yeon spots is a guy she considers to be cool, a man she sees as Hye-sal's perfect match. Surprisingly, the man So-yeon spotted is none other than the handsome stranger from the elevator. He's going all out in the club without his blonde lover anyway in sight. The handsome stranger is so handsome that even So-yeon starts feeling butterflies. However, she is able to snap out of it just in time. Now that she has her eyes set on him, she encourages Hye-sal to walk up to him and try her luck. Instead of approaching the guy, Hye-sal is deep in thought, thinking about how this is where she runs into men of the handsome stranger's caliber. She thinks that a man like him is someone she is sure she cannot have a life with. From the elevator incident earlier on, Hye-sal concludes that the handsome stranger wants nothing to do with marriage and is only interested in dating girls who look like models. She is standing there lost in thought and staring at the handsome stranger when he stops dances and looks in her direction. As expected, their eyes meet and they gaze at each other for a bit. There is tension in the air, and the handsome stranger's gaze makes her wonder if she did something wrong. Hye-sal ends up feeling uncomfortable and makes a run for it, sprinting away from the handsome stranger as quickly as possible. While she runs away, the handsome stranger does not avert his gaze. He keeps observing Hye-sal, and it's like he is looking into her. What the handsome stranger sees is an empty jar, and he declares that he cannot believe there is a human without desire. Wait, isn't he human? Anyway, according to the handsome stranger, Hye-sal's jar is dry, clean, and there is nothing stuck in it. To him, Hye-sal looks like she has never had a significant desire before, and this interests him a lot. He confesses that he has had a hard time finding people with no desire and wants to play with Hye-sal a little. Hye-sal is able to evade the handsome stranger for the moment, but gets frightened by So-yeon when she sneaks up on her and asks her what she is doing. She noticed that Hye-sal was monitoring the dance floor cautiously, which was why she had to ask. Since Hye-sal can't say she is running from a handsome guy, she does not respond. Nevertheless, her mind is busy wondering if the handsome stranger has left. Although she is the one who ran away from the handsome stranger, Hye-sal hopes he is not mad at her. Her reason for fleeing the scene is that the handsome stranger did not look like a person with a good personality. She had tried to see him as one with a good personality, but ended up seeing no good in him. It looks like the drama of this night is coming to an end for Hye-sal, with the handsome stranger out of her hair for now, but someone yelling catches her attention. The person yelling demands to know if the person being yelled at finished talking, and Hye-sal recognizes the loud voice as Yuju's. When she looks closely, Hye-sal sees Yuju on the floor holding onto her foot while addressing some prideful-looking woman. Yuju, clearly offended, tells the proud woman that it is common etiquette to apologize to a person when you step on their foot. Since the woman failed to do so, Yuju asks her if she went to kindergarten, where they taught that kind of stuff. The prideful woman, instead of apologizing, challenges Yuju, claiming that she has no evidence to back the accusations. It must have been an accident that occurred while everyone was dancing, something that a simple apology would have solved, but this woman chose the hard way. Like good friends, Hye-sal and So-yeon rush to Yuju's aid and lift her up. Yuju is clearly in pain, and as Hye-sal and So-yeon try to see if she is okay, the proud lady keeps talking. She announces that it's time for evaluation, catching Hye-sal's attention as soon as the words leave her mouth. Feeling no remorse at all, the prideful woman takes a shot at the Hye-sal and her friends' clothing choices. She jokes that it looks like Hye-sal and her friends went hiking and came to the club for a drink. We can't blame them, since they had no intention of going clubbing until they wanted to cheer Hye-sal up. The prideful woman does not know this, hence the reason for the joke. She adds to her joke that the next time Hye-sal and her friends feel like having a drink after a hike, they should go to a guest house. This is so that they don't spoil the vibrant club environment with their dullness. Just an "I'm sorry" would have sufficed, but the prideful lady refused to apologize, so Yuju decides to teach her a lesson. She grabs the prideful woman's hair, forcing her to scream in pain and call for her lover's help to break free from Yuju's firm hold. An enraged Yuju asks the prideful woman if she has ever had her hair pulled by a senior sister, meaning this is her way of trying to teach the woman some respect. It's crazy, though. This is a side of Yuju that I never thought I'd see. Unluckily for Hye-sal, the lover whose help they are calling for is the handsome stranger, and she is trying to get Yuju to calm down. When the handsome stranger arrives at the scene, he first calls Yuju rude. It's a remark that she should have paid attention to if she wasn't so focused on revenge. Hye-sal, on the other hand, is confused that this man is the prideful woman's lover. Just earlier that day, they bumped into each other in an elevator, and the man had a girlfriend back then. Who is this new woman? Hye-sal asks herself, but her thoughts are disrupted by the handsome stranger when he separates the fight between Yuju and his lover. The prideful woman, now covered in newfound courage, complains to the handsome stranger about how Hye-sal and her friends are weird. She tells the guy that Yuju accused her of stepping on her shoes. The handsome stranger is about to leave with his new lover when Hye-sal stops him. She just wants an apology from the guy for Yuju and waits for it. The handsome guy, on the other hand, can't tell if Hye-sal is calling him back to cause a scene or because she is a really good friend. He then decides to tease Hye-sal, getting real close to her before he whispers into her ear that if she keeps staring at him the way she does, he will misunderstand her. Those words, in turn, cause Hye-sal to feel both angry and embarrassed. Out of that mix of rage and embarrassment, Hye-sal challenges the handsome stranger, pointing out that it was he who started at her first. His lover does not understand what Hye-sal means, and when she asks for an explanation, the handsome stranger just ignores her. Before the handsome stranger leaves with his lover, he turns back to see Hye-sal and winks at her, annoying her the more. She begins to wonder what kind of person the handsome stranger is, but that's something she will think about some other time. Later ends up being the second after the handsome stranger leaves, because on Hye-sal's way home, she notices that she has not forgotten the guy. She knows that birds of a feather flock together, so she isn't supposed to associate with the guy, but has also noticed that her thoughts about the handsome stranger get worse every minute. She then recalls that the man she is thinking about had made out in an elevator, another reason why she should stay away from him. Drunk and feeling defeated, Hye-sal struggles to make her way to her apartment complex and scolds herself for thinking about the handsome stranger. She tells herself that no matter how single she is, she shouldn't give such people attention, and admonish herself to snap out of these thoughts. She also believes that because she is an ethics teacher, she is supposed to live up to that standard, like she always had back in the day. When Hye-sal finally gets to the elevator of her apartment complex, she announces that she never dreamed of anything or getting close to the handsome stranger. She also wishes to view everything as a simple fantasy, which is a very human thing, as we all know. In the elevator, the same one from earlier that day, Hye-sal declares that she never wants to see the handsome stranger again. A simple wish, but the guy lives next to Hye-sal. Remember? He also wants to play with Hye-sal a bit and is the first person she sees when the elevator doors glide open. When she spots the guy, he is locking lips with a different woman from the earlier two. Hye-sal cannot believe her eyes. Plus, the weird man decided to make out in front of Hye-sal's door. This makes it look like he is trying to taunt her. Hye-sal, feeling very uncomfortable, is automatically in the right mind because of what she has seen. Reluctantly, she walks over to the pair and politely asks them to give way for her to get into her apartment. The woman the handsome stranger was making out with just now is different from the other two. Unlike the others, she apologizes to Hye-sal, explaining that she had thought that was the handsome guy's house. The woman now asks the handsome stranger that they move their deeds to his house. At the spot, Hye-sal's mind gets busy. She is thinking about this new girl and how she probably trusts this handsome stranger to be faithful to her, unaware of his external affairs. She feels like this woman is just like her, and the thought of Yun-soo when he broke up with her slips into her mind. Because of this thought, she decides to speak up, refusing to let this guy get away with his deeds. Hye-sal, before the new woman and the handsome stranger, tells the handsome stranger that his desires are tasteless. The new woman does not understand what Hye-sal means, but before Hye-sal can say anything more, the handsome stranger finds a way to dismiss the new woman. He tells the woman that he is no longer interested in them sleeping together, like she had hoped they would. The handsome stranger adds that she is no fun, helping her into the elevator, even though she keeps trying to get a better explanation from him. Once the elevator doors shut and it's just Hye-sal and the handsome guy in the corridor, it's silent at first, until he starts talking about how Hye-sal has fed him without something that is a sin to his tongue. Weird, right? But the weird doesn't stop there. The handsome stranger decides to revisit the topic Hye-sal brought up, and all that is on Hye-sal's mind is that this guy just broke up with his girlfriend and said something about taste. Their conversation keeps getting more weird, especially when the handsome guy asks Hye-sal why she came home late today when she normally came home early. He admits he had been waiting for her, puzzling her for some seconds before she snaps out of it. Hye-sal asserts that he has no business with this guy, and does not know why he keeps talking to her informally. The handsome stranger sees Hye-sal's declaration as funny and laughs, admitting that he has never heard a question like that before. Surprisingly, the handsome stranger snaps his finger, shifting reality and literally transporting himself and Hye-sal to some paradise-like place. In this place, the handsome stranger is seated on a throne and asks Hye-sal if she has ever heard of God speaking formally to humans. The new change shocks Hye-sal to the core. She assumes that this is as a result of the few drinks she had this night, but it's not. The handsome stranger is actually an astral being, and he ignores Hye-sal's shock, offering to give her special treatment. He claims that what he is doing now will benefit no one, and goes on to read out the information he has about her. He gets her name right, her age, and her occupation, but sees Hye-sal's job as an ethics teacher as the most boring thing ever. To show that he knows what's up, the handsome stranger tells Hye-sal that he knows she just got dumped by her boyfriend and went to the club to let loose. He tells Hye-sal that, although she has no desire at all, it is a shame that it's painful when she gets hit by life the way she is getting hit now. The handsome stranger, clearly enjoying the look on Hye-sal's face, tells her that he wanted to say something to her back at the club, but Hye-sal froze whenever she saw him. He likens her to a scared little squirrel, and then she finally speaks up. It's clear that she is confused and not sure who this guy is or what he is, but wants to know how he heard about her desire. The handsome stranger/God, instead of answering Hye-sal's question, states that he told her to let go, but she didn't. He also claims that he gave her permission to let go, but she didn't, so he wants to know if she is rejecting his sincerity. Again, he gets too close to Hye-sal, lifting her up, causing her to panic and ask why he brought her to this place. Could all this be a dream? It's obvious that this manhwa is just getting started. If you want us to continue, comment Hye-sal below. Also, please like, share, and subscribe. Until next time, ciao!